Hey everybody, so today the theme of the reading is more or less, what do I want to say? I guess the inspiration for this reading was I was thinking about the video game series Life is Strange and how like the choices that you make, how it affects that story that you experience. And so that's kind of where the inspiration for this reading comes from. So really these are any of you who feel like you're stuck in a predicament, in a pickle of some sort, if you feel stagnant for whatever reason, or for some of you feel like you have to make a decision but you don't know what decision to make. This is going to be a little bit of guidance on what your situation is. So we just have 3 groups today. I don't know why I did letters, but it's what I did. So pick whichever one you feel the most drawn to. Remember, don't just pick purely on based on aesthetics. It has to be the one that has the strongest spiritual pull for you, okay? So take your time. First letter is H for group 1. Second letter is A for group 2. And the final letter is B for group 3. And of course, as always, please keep in mind that this is a general reading. Not all the messages in your group are likely to resonate. Take what resonates, leave what does not. If you feel like you picked the wrong group, you can always pick another one, pick a different video, pick a different reader. Really, it does not matter. Also, please understand with all of my videos, the goal and the focus is to work on self-healing. Okay, so sometimes there are going to be tough lessons that come through. Sometimes there are going to be difficult things that you need to hear. But the important thing to realize is that they're coming through because these are aspects of your life that you need to deal with, that you need to work on so that you can make your dreams come true, so that you can have success in your life, okay? So yes, sometimes the messages are painful. I can tell you, I already did the readings, and I can tell you at least one of these groups is going to be very hard for some of you to listen to. But the ultimate goal is to show you how to have hope in spite of these things, and to confront your demons, to confront the things that are scary in your life, so that you can really take advantage of how things are, of what your full potential is. You know what I mean? So none of these are intended to hurt you in any way. These are intended to enlighten you and to guide you in these difficult situations. And so, of course, I will say for some of you, if you know that you're in a position right now where you're extra sensitive and it's going to be hard for you to accept anything that might be a little bit negative, I might advise you to come back at a later time. A good way to know if you're at the position or not is usually you'll be able to tell within the first minute or two of the reading if it's going to be too heavy for you. Please use your own intuition and discretion when deciding whether or not to continue watching. Sometimes we do need to accept these hard truths and kind of have a painful and difficult reading in order to give us an opportunity to grow. But for some of you, I do understand that you might not be in a place where you're ready for that, and that's okay. Just use your own discretion to decide if this is the time now where you're ready for that growth, no matter if it may be painful or not. But yes. But I will say too, most of these messages were pretty positive and encouraging in the end, even if the initial message is very hard and very difficult. Okay? The important thing is healing and growth. All right, so that's enough of me rambling on, and I will see you in your group. Okay, the group number 1, if you chose this letter H, then this message is for you. Before I get started with the reading, I do want to mention a couple of things. It seems like some of you, if not all of you, there is some sort of attention that you need to pay to the cleanliness of your environment, the organization of your environment. I know that it's really easy anytime that you're stressed out or anxious or feeling depressed. It can be really hard to clean up your room, to clean up your house, to clean up your car. But it sounds like for some of you, you would really benefit by spending like a day or an hour just picking things up, putting things back in order, cleaning things off. And for some of you, this might actually end up being like a way to, like a physical way to kind of like manifest like a sort of like cleaning within yourself. For some of you, this will definitely, even if it's not fun to do, even if it's like stressful to do the activity, by the time that you're done, you'll feel just a lot more clarity, a lot more comfort. It's not going to solve your problems or anything that you're running into, but it is going to facilitate like a connection with like within yourself, with your higher self. Something about that is going to help you feel a lot better and just have better understanding on a situation, or just feel more comfortable, and it will help alleviate a little bit of your stress once it's done. The second thing I do want to mention is, before I started this specific reading for your group, I did see a deer sitting outside. Some of you, that might be a confirmation for something, but I would recommend looking up the spiritual significance of a deer to see what resonates with you and why that might have come up in your reading this time around. I just kind of like looking through some of the explanations. It does seem, based off of like the cards and the stuff that I pulled, the most prevalent message was kind of like a return to innocence and not letting go of that. Okay, so we're gonna get into it. So your song that you got for your card is a song called Tell Me Why by the Early November. They're like an alternative kind of emo band. And the main lyrics that were in my head when I was thinking about this group was, tell me why you left, tell me where you went. So this group, I think you are the guys that are maybe dealing with an unexpected departure of a friend, family member, or significant other. So, and for some of you, this just means that maybe they cut off contact completely and disappeared. For others of you, maybe they made a decision to move away without letting you know ahead of time, and they just sprung the information on you and kind of just left. For some of you, this is actually going way back to your childhood, some kind of like abandonment issues that you have with a parental figure or family member. And finally, for others of you, this is talking about a death of a beloved person that you're having trouble processing, and you aren't really sure like why they had to go, why they had to die. And that is a little bit more of an intense message, so that's not for many of you, but in general, the overall theme of this reading seems to be dealing with an unexpected departure in some way, shape, or form of another person that was significant to you. Okay, so we're going to start reading the cards here. The first card you have is the Fool in reverse. In the upright position, this talks about kind of being optimistic, just being willing to take a chance, being willing to put yourself out there. But in the reverse, this can talk about either being delayed in being able to take that risk, to be able to move on. And in other cases, this is a warning that maybe you're being too naive, maybe you're throwing yourself into things that you shouldn't be throwing yourself into, because there's a lack of critical thinking that you actually need at this time. So instead of like with the Fool in the upright, where it would advise you to not worry about the consequences, just go for it, take the risk, jump into this new thing. In the reverse, this is kind of like a warning saying that don't just jump into these new things just because they look good. Like, slow down, take the time to think about that. And I think it's augmented, by this Nine of Wands in the upright. This is someone who's pausing. You know, they're near the end of a cycle. They're near the point of, in a sense, success. Like in the Wands, obviously. Well, for those of you who know, like the Ten of Wands isn't really. It's like a bittersweet success. It's like you have so much that you have too much. And it's nothing that you can't handle, but it's just like a success that's kind of like an overabundance where it becomes a burden. But the Nine of Wands here, that's just pausing to reflect, taking some time to think about everything that you've achieved up to this point. And again, that might be going back to the Fool, because you can see this person is looking at the Fool. They're looking at each other, actually. It's like maybe this is like a warning to you, or some kind of advice saying that you might be tempted just to jump into this new opportunity that some of you might have. Some of you might even be at the point where you just want to start over. Some of you might just feel tempted just to quit your job, do something completely different. Some of you might be tempted just to move somewhere else, just to get out of your environment. But this is kind of just saying, hey, to slow down, take a moment to think about it before you take that next step. Then you have the Six of Wands in reverse. Although officially this card doesn't mean persecution, I tend to read this card that way because if you look at this, there's one person at the bottom and then all of the other 5 wands are pointing down at this individual. It's kind of like there's a lot of pressure coming in. There's a lot of, you might be feeling judged by a lot of people, or you might feel like the whole world is against you, like everyone is out to hurt you, and that might just be going back to this sense of abandonment that you feel. You might really just feel perpetually persecuted by the world. You might feel really pessimistic about relationships, about families, about these kinds of things, because there's this fear that you're always going to end in failure. You also have the Hanged Man in reverse. So you may be feeling stagnant, you may be lacking clarity. A lot of you are in need of a new perspective. Then you had the Ace of Cups upright, and it was clarified by the 3 of Swords with the 4 of Wands in reverse. A lot of people will tend to say that the Ace of Cups is like a new relationship beginning, but the way that I'm seeing this is you kind of coming into a new cycle within yourself. This is you on the tail end of the despair of the 3 of Swords and like a lack of stability with the 4 of Wands in reverse, starting to come into a new place with yourself, with your emotions of feeling a sense of fulfillment, starting to be able to see life as beautiful again after your foundation has been shaken. You know, in spite of these things, like you're starting to be able to see that there is beauty in the world, even though like you have this profound hurt within you, because whoever left, in whatever way that they left, it really gave you a sense of a lack of stability, especially with family and relationships, and it was really a painful process to go through. But this is kind of signifying that that foundation had to be shaken in a way to make you a better person, a stronger person. And it's also saying too that the actions of this other person, don't let that affect the way that you see yourself. Okay, you also have the 8 of Pentacles in reverse, clarified by the 4 of Swords in reverse. So some of you, again, going back to that Fool in reverse, and maybe trying to jump into new projects too soon. You might be finding that maybe you feel a lot of optimism, but it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's you're acting on your emotions. It's just like whatever fleeting thought that you have, fleeting desire that you have, you just keep jumping into it. Some of you may be continuously throwing yourselves into new projects to kind of forget about this person, to forget about this situation that you've been through. You're trying to stay optimistic, but it's like every time that you start this new project, everything seems to be really sloppy, and you might be struggling to understand why that is. If that sounds like you, this may be because of exactly that. Maybe you just need to slow down. So instead of, because when the 4 of Swords is upright, that means taking a rest and reflecting, especially in light of the 3 of Swords. So this might be saying that instead of going out and acting, again, you just need to pull back a little bit, like reflect on everything that you've been through, because it seems like there's some stuff that you're just running away from. Okay, and then after that, these 3 cards came out together. I usually don't like to take them when there's this many cards, but it felt right. So you had the Star in the reverse, the 8 of Wands in reverse, and Strength in reverse. So with the Star in reverse, I feel like this is just generally saying that this person's leaving may have left you feeling like you can never have a sense of fulfillment, like your dreams may never come true. You may be feeling, again, that super pessimistic about, will things ever work out for you in the way that you want them to. With the 8 of Wands in reverse, with this deck especially, it can talk about envy and jealousy. So some of you might see that after this person left, maybe they started a new family, maybe they got together with a different person. Things like that, you may be feeling envious and sitting there wondering, why did they leave and then do the exact same thing with a different person? And then lastly, with strength in reverse, yeah, it's just a very overwhelming situation for you. You're starting to feel like you're losing this battle in your head and like with your dreams, and some of you are probably at the point of, again, like that wanting to give up and just not understanding why this happened, why this person left. And then you had the Four of Swords upright, which I think was going back to that last one that we were just looking at. But again, this is taking a pause, you know, after going through this difficult situation, resting before moving forward, which is a lot like the Nine of Wands. You need to take a rest before you move on to make another decision. There's something that happened in the situation that you need to reflect on that you're ignoring. It seems like there's some shadow work that you need to do that you've been running away from. And for a lot of you, this might even be, so far, some of you, it might just be as simple as talking with a friend. Some of you might just be, you need to meditate on it and just do some work alone. For others of you, this might be an invitation to try out therapy. You might have to try a few different people, but there are some issues here that you need to work out and resolve before you can move forward with success. And then lastly, you have the Seven of Wands upright. This is someone who is coming out and finding themselves. So this is here to give you hope, to say that even though this awful thing happened to you, you are going to find yourself again. You're going to find the path. You're going to see the way out here pretty soon. It's just you need to take that pause. You can't just rush into it. You can't just run away from all of the pain and all of the hurt and expect that it's just magically going to go away. You have to confront it first. But once you confront it, you have to, and again too, for you to be able to find yourself again, you have to know where you are first, right? Like you can't get out of the woods and like unless you have some kind of an idea of where to go, you know what I mean? Otherwise you're just going to keep getting lost, but you're going to be lost in a different location. So this is just saying, do the work and you'll have success and you'll start to find yourself. And you're also probably going to find that you're not the person that you thought you were, or you're not the person that you wanted to be. That's a message for some of you. Back of the deck energy for the main cards that I pulled for the main deck is the Queen of Swords. And this deck in particular, this is someone who's carrying a burden. This is someone who has been a lot, but because of what they've been through, they've wisened up and they know better. But also in a way too, it's almost to a detriment, to the point where they're maybe a little bit overprotective. They're a little bit fearful of being taken advantage of. But then you have the Ten of Cups upright and the Nine of Cups upright. So it's kind of like saying, if you do the work to get into this Queen of Swords power, like acknowledging the burden that you've been through, overcoming the obstacles, understanding that, you know, in a way you're always going to carry that with you, and it is probably going to change you, you know. It changes us inevitably because of how significant it is. In spite of that, there is still going to be fulfillment, both with yourself and with your family or with another. Ultimate fulfillment will be coming, like once you reach that point. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to pull some oracle cards and some messages. And before I go into the messages, I do want to say that every time when we pull these cards, again, just as a reminder, not all the messages here today are for you specifically. They may be messages for another person who may be watching this video, who chose this group. If there are some messages that can be hard to hear, that can be tough to swallow. So if you know that you're in a state of mind right now where you're not ready for any kind of a tough love situation, even though acknowledging these bad things is what sets us free from toxic situations, from toxic people. It helps us understand what needs to be healed and how to heal so that we can move on in a functional way. If you know for whatever reason that you're just not ready for that, then I would suggest that we can end it here. But I am going to get into these messages and read these oracle cards now for you. So first, from the Ravens Wand Tarot, we have Destroying Angel in reverse. I'm going to show it to you upright as I read the description to you. Freya and her witches face some truly horrifying enemies, made all the more dangerous because they remain hidden. Some concealed pitfalls lie in your path. Now is no time to stand alone. Strength comes from cooperation. So for some of you, the abandonment that you're feeling, you might not be the only one affected by this abandonment, especially if this is a parental figure. You may have the other parent or some siblings who are equally as affected as you. This may be a message that you need to get in touch with them and work with them for your healing together. And you may find that they can actually offer you a lot more comfort. Some of you may have been avoiding these other people because just to think about your family in general means you have to think about that person that abandoned you. But this is like an invitation to reach out to those other people who are also affected by this abandonment, and knowing that you guys aren't alone and that you still have each other. You know, just because one person abandoned doesn't mean that everybody else has to. For others of you where this is more like a relationship that you're dealing with, like whether it's a friendship or a significant other, this person who abandoned you, this may be saying that it might be time for you to stop closing yourself off. If you have done that, reach out to some other people for support. And again, for some of you, this might be going back to the suggestion of needing to seek some sort of outside therapy, whether that comes in the literal form of therapy or if it's just meditation and connecting with higher self. So here are the messages related to that oracle. We actually got quite a few for these. I'm going to try not to spend too long on them since I don't want the video to get too long, but the first message that came out is, I don't know how to love myself. I feel like there's two messages here with this one. The first one is that the person that left wants you to know that the reason why they left is more so a reflection of how they feel about themselves. Maybe they panicked and they felt like they weren't ready for the situation that they were getting put into. For others of you, this may be you admitting to yourself that because this person abandoned you, you're having difficulty loving yourself. There's also a message of, I will never trust you. Some of you may have a lot of difficulty trusting people in general because of what this person did. It's also the message of, I can't bear to look at you. Again, just this message of, this person hurt you so deeply that you feel like you have to run away from them. Also a message of, I need time. I think this is going back again to that Nine of Wands, Four of Swords energy of taking a pause to think about things and really reflect and work through those issues. It's also a message of, I'm desperate. This feels like a message from the person who abandoned you. This person is also wanting to let you know that they acted impulsively, that they have no idea what they're doing. It is also a message of, I can't breathe. This may be some of you saying to yourself that this situation is just so intense that thinking about it is really hard for you. For others of you, this person is really struggling and wrestling with what they did to you. I'm possessed by my demons and ghosts. So again, either you or this person, it's like, it seems more like the person who abandoned you. Again, like going back to that I'm desperate card, they really want you to know that they acted selfishly, and it was kind of an act of self-preservation. They felt like they had no choice. They had too much baggage. There's just too much that they're going through, too much that they're dealing with, that they panicked and they left the situation for whatever reason. You know, even though it may not have been the right choice, it was something that they did out of self-preservation because they were just at a point where they were so lost. And lastly is, I don't know how to express myself to you. For some of you, the first message that I'm getting with that is that some of you are struggling to talk about the situation with other people. You're really struggling to understand how you even feel about it. Some of you may have been neglecting to deal with these issues because you just keep wanting to run away. For others of you, this is that person saying that there isn't an apology card that came out. I don't think that this person necessarily regrets what they did, unfortunately, because they felt like it was the only choice that they had. And they kind of want you to understand that they acted out of desperation. They acted because they were scared, because there were these issues where they just panicked and they ran away. and they kind of wish that you understood their reasoning. You know, whether or not they're actually justified by doing that, whether or not it was right, they just kind of wish that they could make peace with you in a way, that you would be able to understand why, and that maybe understanding why would help you heal from the situation. All right, so our next oracle card comes from the Victoria Frances deck. You guys got number 19. So the title of this card is The Sound. Wait, no, that's not this card. This is The Covenant. It stands for psychic development, learning, and study. Again, going back to that, going within, doing some meditation, connecting with higher self, taking a pause before you move forward. So it says, your curiosity in psychic and spiritual matters are awakening. You have an urge to learn more. You may already be dabbling in occult matters. It is likely that people with similar skills will gather around you, but realize that you are a born teacher and your intuitive abilities will be more receptive than those around you. Use your skills and trust your psychic instincts as you are open to the energies of those around you. Studying occult material, reading cards, and taking interest in all forms of divination are important at this time. Finding groups where people have similar interests will help you to develop quicker. Know that you are a natural psychic, but be sure to use your gift wisely. Respect the craft and it will guide you well. So that might be a confirmation for some of you that continuing to look into divination, tarot reading, or if there's any other kind of spiritual thing. For some of you, this is religion. It's saying that you will find comfort in that and you will find the guidance that you need. I think these messages overall are more from like your higher self to yourself, more so than from this person, because again, this is piggybacking off of the theme of your psychic abilities, tapping into the spiritual awareness. So the first card that came out is, why did you say that? Some of you might be feeling guilty about something that you said to somebody else. Others of you may be really confused about what somebody else said to you. But it sounds like if this is somebody else that said something to you that's confusing you, it's like them saying that you need to look deeper for the meaning. It's more than just surface level. There is something that motivated what they said, and the motivation is more important than what they actually said, and that's what you need to understand. There's also this message of, I trust you. It sounds like you guys, through this healing, you will learn to trust again. This also might just be a message that you need to trust yourself a little bit more. There's this message of, I've changed. A lot of you might also be coming to this point where you're realizing how much this experience has impacted you, how it's changed you. Some of you, this change that you're experiencing is you finally getting to a point where you're ready to deal with the situation that you've been through. And then lastly is the card of, I'm confused. So again, a lot of you are needing that higher guidance, that assistance from an outside perspective, because we had that hangman in reverse. You're really needing to talk to someone or work through things with someone or tap into some kind of spiritual guidance, whether that's inner or outer, but ultimately you need a new perspective in order to handle and work through this situation. Some of you may be quick to judge everything that happened. Again, going back to the why did you say that? But it's more than surface level. And that's what you need to know. And you need to learn to trust yourself as well. All right, so that's your messages, group 1. I hope that was helpful for you. Let me know if this resonated. As always, please remember this was a general reading, so not all of the messages may have resonated, and that's okay. Leave them for the other people who those messages were intended for, and I hope to see you in another video. Thank you. Hello, group number 2. If you chose this letter A, then this message is for you. So the song that you guys got is Misty, as performed by Sarah Vaughan. I guess in the first lyrics that came to me were just the beginning of the song is, look at me, I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree. I can't understand, I get misty just holding your hand. So this may be the group where you're dealing with a very passionate love that's kind of consuming you. Some of you, this might be as simple as infatuation with another. For others of you, this might be the first time you're experiencing something that feels like a real love. And for others of you, this is a passion that you have recently discovered that you have, and it's something that's kind of overwhelmed. There seems to be an energy of fixation on whatever this thing or this person is. There's definitely, yeah, just overwhelming thought about this individual or this project or this passion. All right, so I'm actually going to start out this reading with some oracles from the Raven's Wand. The first card that came out is Family Matters. With skin almost white and lilac-tinted eyes, Evelyn Ash knows she stands apart, but Coven's society is liberal and understanding. Eve counts herself lucky to live as a witch, sparing a thought for those suffering persecution in the wider world. We all feel alone sometimes, but Eve has a whole coven to call her family, just as the dragonflies cluster together and the crystals grow in groups. Harmony comes from being with the like-minded. Even when we're away from them, they remain in our hearts, and so we never have to feel alone, unless we choose to. So it seems like some of you guys are finally getting to a place where you're realizing that it's like you've found where you belong, but there's still the sense of feeling a little bit lost, but you feel like you're on the verge of figuring out who's like your soul tribe, so to speak, who are your people, what does it mean to have a meaningful relationship. And then you had stepping away in reverse. I'm going to show it to you in the upright as I read the meaning. The stag's antlers blend seamlessly with the trees, just as Sorella's dress cascades luxuriously over the rocks and roots. Even her ceremonial body paint makes her seem to melt into the forest. Concrete and steel dominate our everyday environments, but let's not forget our origins. Remember to spend time in green places. So it seems to be encouraging you to go outside, kind of becoming one with nature. So stepping away when it's in the upright position, that's taking a look at the bigger picture. But for some of you guys, it seems that you need to take a step closer and sort of appreciate the little details and things. You might be thinking a little bit too big picture. You might be too fixated on the outcome that you want to have with this person or with this passion that you're pursuing. All right, so now we're going to get into the tarot. The first card here is the Ace of Wands, clarified by the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. So it seems like you guys, again, it's that new beginning, that passionate new beginning, whether it's a relationship or a hobby that you're pursuing, a job that you're pursuing. But the thing is, it's like, it's delayed almost in a way by laziness, or this might be saying that you might be struggling to step into this new energy, to really appreciate this new thing that's coming into your life because you're so busy like with your thoughts in a way. It's like you're not getting your expected outcome in that sense because there's just something incomplete, like something you haven't spent enough time working on, like something hasn't developed. For the others of you, this means that you're walking away from a history of incomplete projects, of half-assing everything, and that's what your new beginning is. You're finally finding the thing that you're passionate about enough to actually sit down and focus and work hard for. You know, it's not something where it's like fickle and you're just jumping from one thing to the next anymore. After that, you have Seven of Swords in reverse with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. This is telling me that no matter how hard you plan for a specific outcome, it's not going to be what you expect. I don't think it's necessarily going to be bad. This is just kind of saying that no amount of planning, no amount of like trying to finesse a situation is going to get you exactly what you are wanting. It's kind of like saying you have to understand that it's going to play out the way that it was meant to play out. This is something that's bigger than you. This is something that's a little bit beyond your control in that sense. You also have the Page of Swords. So this is, I usually read this as insight. This could be, just like some amount of learning, having some kind of secret. So what this is telling me is that there's something that's going on behind the scenes that you're not aware of. So whether this is a relationship you're pursuing or again a hobby, there is some information that's being held back from you, and that's why no amount of planning that you do is going to get you the desired outcome, because there are these secrets. There is this insight that you don't have access to at this moment. This might also mean that some of you are going to be approached by someone who does have that knowledge, but again, it's not going to be the outcome that you expect. Next, you have the Ten of Swords clarified by the Knight of Swords in reverse. So unfortunately, this does mean for most of you that whatever this outcome, unexpected outcome is going to be very difficult for you to wrap your head around. This might be an outcome that comes in the form of somebody kind of charging in very abruptly, very rudely, someone who's not necessarily concerned about your emotions, that they might be giving you a message that kind of just shakes your whole world. Some of you, this means you're already in this energy and you're really struggling with just like you're just like in your head too much. You're overthinking about things and you're kind of eating yourself alive and you're holding yourself back from like an honest truth. Because the Knight of Swords is well-meaning, but they are very cold in their delivery. So it might be that someone with that energy has really negatively impacted you, or the fact that someone is holding back from this information. It could also be causing you to perpetuate in this energy of just despair and hopelessness. You had the Four of Pentacles reverse. I feel like this is you understanding that you're at a point where in order to get away from the fires, you have to give up something that you don't want to give up. This is going to be something that's physical, something that's more material. So for some of you, that's quite literally money. Some of you, this might mean time or a specific path that you want to go. Maybe it's a hobby. Maybe you're understanding that you don't have enough time for everything in order to manifest what it is that you desire. That could be part of what the despair is just understanding that the hard truth is that you can't have everything and get a happy outcome, because you're going to overwhelm yourself and it's just not going to work out the way that you want it to. There's something delaying you from the outcome. Next, you have the Seven of Pentacles clarified by the Five of Cups. So this is you coming to the realization that things are moving forward, that you have made a lot of progress. For the Five of Cups, this is also kind of like saying that it's again like acknowledging that there is a lot of hopelessness and a lot of despair, but you're realizing that you're making progress on this. You're starting to see that there is some hope. You're starting to see that you are going to be able to come out of this desperate energy. You're realizing that in spite of this negative stuff that has happened, that you're still producing fruit. In a way, you're still growing as a person. You're still developing the skills that you need. If you're thinking about a specific relationship, what's interesting is that the Five of Cups was also in the back of the deck for this other deck. And what I really like about this art for this deck is that the Five of Cups is indicating that although there is turmoil, although there is a disagreement, although there is strife and a change that is happening in the relationship, there's still these Two of Cups, so there's still hope that things will get better. But it seems almost like this is telling you to look at yourself and how you're changing and how you're developing a better relationship with yourself in the midst of this change. And then lastly is the Queen of Swords reversed with the Five of Pentacles to clarify. So it's kind of like you're feeling lost as a result of the situation. You're feeling defensive. You're feeling very negative, very pessimistic. You're not hopeful for your future at all. But this is kind of like saying that it's a process. You know, you're growing into this upgraded energy, into this stronger energy, and it was a big price to pay, but you're going to find yourself in a way that you never knew that you could. You're going to have a sense of self-awareness and strength that you never had before. And this may also be a note for some of you to really tap into the spirituality, to really go within, to understand, you know, why does it hurt so much? Like what what are you afraid of in the situation? You know, what is keeping you in that Ten of Swords energy? I do want to say that overall this seems to be very like a physical and mental energy. So even though there is kind of a little bit of a relationship aspect to this, it's like, again, you guys are so in your head that this is just spinning out of control. This could be saying too that be careful what you spend your time thinking about. Because if you spend your time in that Ten of Swords energy, yeah, we don't necessarily have control over everything that we feel. We can't help it when we get trapped in these thoughts. But it's encouraging you to get out of your head a little bit, because again, no amount of planning is going to get you the outcome that you specifically are desiring, because there's a different plan for you. There's a different road for you than what you were expecting. And with these 2 5s that came out, it's definitely, there's a lot of change. And yeah, the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. You can expect a lot of change. It is going to be positive, but it's not going to be what you're planning for. It's not going to be what you're expecting. And you are going to find those people that you really belong with. And you're going to learn to kind of slow down in a sense of appreciating the little things that are around you more, instead of just constantly thinking about, I want this outcome, this is what I want, this is where I want to go, because it's not always the means justify the ends. I think it's telling you to stop thinking about what you want, stop thinking about the end goal, stop, blaming yourself and being stuck in this cycle of desperation, because you're just defeating yourself in a lot of ways. You're causing yourself not to work to your full potential. You may be causing issues in your relationships with other people. These other people may be trying to support you, trying to help you move forward, but it's almost like for some of you, you're rejecting that assistance. Some of you, this might be a pride issue. Some of you, this may be a trust issue. But again, it's saying that when you're dealing with other people, you can't control them. So don't stop trying to control them. I feel like that's kind of the biggest message here. And unfortunately, it does look like it is going to be a painful process, but I think once you can learn to accept that things are going to happen the way that they're going to happen, like once you accept that you're not responsible for other people's actions, you're not responsible for everything that happens in life, every outcome, it's just really saying, get out of your head a little bit, take some time, go in nature, understand that there are people around you who can support you, who do have your best interest in heart. And it's almost like you're isolating yourself in a way unnecessarily, because you're just afraid of something. Some of you may be intentionally isolating yourself from a relationship that you want to pursue because you're afraid of the outcome. Some of you are playing the game a little bit too carefully, and that's causing stress that otherwise wouldn't be there. Some of you are trying too hard to be smart in this situation, and it's actually backfiring. So you might be saying, I have to wait X amount of hours, X amount of days to text this person back, for example. And a lot of you, this is like an overwhelming emotion that you feel for this person, if you're dealing with a relationship and not just a passion. And you're policing yourself too much because you're so afraid of having something bad happen that has happened in the past. And you really don't want to lose this feeling. But it's telling you that this person is either going to accept you or reject you, and it's not really about having to play the game. It's inviting you to be yourself, be who you really are. I think that's what this card is all about. And then the stepping away, taking time to focus on the details. Don't be afraid to get close to this person. Alright, so I'm going to read the Oracle card that came out from the Victoria Frances deck. And then we're going to do messages. The messages were inspired by this Oracle card. So after I read this Oracle card, as always, I do want to warn you that not all of the messages that come out are positive. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And again, because there are some negative messages, some of you might want to stop watching this video after this oracle card if you know you're not in a place to really take constructive criticism in that sense, because sometimes we really need those negative messages to set us free from toxic situations or toxic people. But a lot of times that can be hard to hear. You know, my hope is that if you stick around to listen to the messages, you'll really find some insight and some inspiration, and you'll have the courage to deal with these difficult things. You know, because it's never with the intention to make you feel bad, it's just with the intention to help you heal, to move on to better things, okay? All right, so you have at number 29, the Ashen Queen, which stands for rejection, overthinking, and peace. So again, yeah, with that overthinking aspect. There are times in life when we need to stop and reflect on where we are on our path. There is no sorrow here, just a need to have a goal, something to plan for and look forward to. Meditation and visualization may be needed to calm the mind and give you some guidance. Whatever you need to do to relax, find the time to do it. When days are overloaded with the demands of modern life, it can be stressful, and sometimes we need permission to be kind to ourselves. Make plans to do the things which make you happy. Reconnect with nature, walk, dance, laugh, whatever it is. Time to just be you is much needed now. So again, be yourself. Try to find ways to get out of that overthinking energy. And again, with that stepping away in reverse, this might mean reconnecting with energy. This might also mean connecting with people who identify with you in some way or another. This might be taking a step back to realize that maybe there's some friends or families that you have been undervaluing, that you know that when you're with them, you can be full yourself, and you kind of just need to tap into that support and that energy. You guys are really afraid to be yourself because you feel like it's not going to get you the desired outcome. But I'm telling you that even if you try to play the field like really smartly, if you try to make yourself look like something that you're not, you're going to be incredibly disappointed with the outcome, and it's going to hurt 10 times more than it needs to. Whereas if you were just yourself and you let things flow as they naturally were, then it would be a lot easier for you to deal with. All right, so the first message that came out, these could be messages from your significant other that you might have in mind. These might be messages from higher self to yourself. This might be how you're feeling at this time. The first message is please don't let go. Some of you might be considering walking away from a situation or a person, but they may really feel like they need you at this time, or this might be you expressing that you're afraid that this particular person is going to be walking away from you when they find out who you really are. Because the next one is, who are you? Some of you guys might have been pretending for so long that you don't know anymore. This is telling you that you need to be yourself. Maybe some of you guys are giving mixed signals, and it's confusing this person. It's confusing you. The next message is, I can't. Again, some of you might be feeling so stuck in your head that you don't know how to move forward, like you don't know what to do. You're really struggling to make good decisions. You're really struggling to be okay. I'm so unhappy is the next card that came out. That goes, again, off of the Ten of Swords energy. Some of you might be neglecting to understand how you feel right now and not wanting to deal with those issues. For others of you, it's this person that you're dealing with. They're trying to tell you that the way that they feel isn't your fault. This is just kind of how they were before they met you. There's just some baggage that's really holding them back from getting whatever your desired outcome is. So if you're really pushing hard to pursue a relationship with this person, the reason why you're not going to get your expected outcome is because this person has so much that they need to work through on their own. Next message is, I don't understand myself. So again, you guys are neglecting to see yourself for who you really are. You're not really like, you keep making decisions that aren't your decisions, and it's kind of confusing you because it's become so automatic at this point to behave like somebody that you're not, to think like somebody that you're not, because you keep getting stuck in these cycles of negative thoughts, and it's confusing you. You don't understand why you keep doing that. Some of you, this might be your other person that's doing that, but most of you, it's you keep getting in this negative thought cycle and you don't know how to stop it. And it kind of comes back to this fact that you're trying so hard to be what other people want, what you think that they want, because you think that if you play your cards right, you'll get that outcome that you want, but it's not true. Next card is I wish you said what you really felt. So this might be you begging yourself or somebody else begging you to actually be open and stop playing games. Card, I want to change. So either you or your person are at a point where they realize that they're stuck in this negative energy and they want to get out of it. They don't want to be this way anymore. They want to, but whether or not they actually do is that's a completely another story. And this final message is, I'm not good enough for you. So some of you may be dealing with someone who is quite depressed, and that's, again, why that's why you're really struggling to get this outcome, because you really just need to give them time to work on self-love, for them to love themselves and be ready for a relationship, because they're not at this time. For others of you, this is, again, that self-defeating thought process where you feel like you have to pretend to be someone that you're not because you think that you're not good enough. But the message is, like, who you are is a unique person and a beautiful person exactly as you already are. And pretending to be someone else, again, is not going to get you the outcome that you want. It's time for you to start to embrace who you really are and understand that you are good enough as you are. You don't have to pretend. Pretending is just what's going to make things hurt even more. Do you know what I mean? Because even if you get close to that desired outcome, you're going to be somebody that you're not, and it's just going to be unnecessary stress. If this is a relationship you're looking for, they should love and accept you as you are, for who you are. You shouldn't have to pretend. If this is a passion or a career that you're trying to pursue, you might be coming to the realization that this dream that you want isn't your dream. You may also be feeling like it's never going to come true because you don't have the talent required. But really, it's just hard work. Hard work will take you there, but you really do need to take a moment to step back and figure out if this is the path that you want to take. So maybe you're just so fixated on doing something like making money. Maybe that's your primary motivation. So you told yourself you want to be a doctor, you told yourself you want to be a lawyer, but you're realizing this isn't something that actually fits who you are. And so now you're kind of at the point of like, well, I want to live comfortably. But what does that actually mean? Does that mean becoming a lawyer? Does that mean you have to make this amount of money? What does it mean to actually live comfortably? And maybe you have to take a step back and think again about the little steps. And again, instead of thinking about that final outcome, like you have to think about, what does it really mean to be financially secure? Do I really have to have a job like being a doctor or a lawyer to get that financial security? Because, you might be surprised to find that there is another career path that is better suited for your natural talents, for things that you are actually passionate about, for things you actually like doing. And there is a way for you to make a comfortable, happy wage with that passion, with that pursuit. You don't have to do things the way that other people are doing them just because your parents tell you to, just because, your significant other is asking you to. There are other options. So take some time to reflect on why you're feeling not good enough. All right, so that's it for you guys today. I hope that this resonated with you. I hope that it helped in some way. And again, if this this group didn't resonate, feel free to pick another group, another video, a different reader, do whatever you like. But that's where we'll call it for today. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks. All right, and hello to our group number 3, those of you who chose the letter B. These are going to be your messages for today. And of course, again, as a reminder, this is a general message. Take what resonates, leave what does not. And I think that's all I want to say for now. Let's get into it. So if you picked this, then your song was Why Not by Hilary Duff. Oh man, it's kind of funny because it just came out of nowhere, of course, and it's like the second time that I've thought of a song from like the Lizzie McGuire movie very recently, so I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's more message for me that it's a movie that I have to watch for whatever reason. But anyway, so the lyrics that came out were, why not take a crazy chance, why not do a crazy dance? Of course, probably the most famous part of this song. And so that's kind of the overall feeling of this reading. So let's get into it. So for whatever reason, your guys' spread came out like this as two separate things. Instead of clarifying individual cards, they're just kind of clarifying overall. I'm taking it as this first row here is more of like your psychological state with whatever situation or issue that you're dealing with. And then the second part here is more of like the physical, the more manifest part of it. All right, so your first card was the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, and then right after that we have the Two of Swords in reverse. So you're acting very inconsistently. You may be at a war with yourself, unable to make a decision on what to do next. You're kind of going back and forth, teeter-tottering a lot on this situation. For most of you, I'm getting that it's a relationship that you're wanting to start, but you're afraid of what's going to happen. All right, and then you have the Knight of Swords paired with the Queen of Pentacles. Again, it's kind of like that teeter-tottering energy where part of you just really wants to rush in, rush forward, be very like abrupt and in a way that's a kind of almost like brutal, like very, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for. Just kind of like in a cold energy, like abrupt, I think maybe. And then the other half of you really wants to just be very nurturing and providing and patient and just like easygoing and slow going with this person, but you're having a hard time deciding which way you should approach this because you're back and forth because you don't know if you should take a step back with this person and kind of just let things flow naturally and just give as much as you can, but you're also at the point too where you're tired of waiting for results and you really just want to rush in there and make something happen. You also have the Emperor in reverse, so part of the reason why you're going back and forth as to how you should approach this person is because you feel like you're not enough, you feel like you don't have enough to offer this person. You may be feeling like you're not in a good energy right now in order to have this kind of relationship. You're probably wondering what this person sees in you and why they're in your life. You're probably wondering if there really can be a kind of a stable connection with this person. You're really feeling like you're just lacking the abundance for everything to work out. But you also have the Hangman in reverse. So it's like you're stagnant, you're really stuck in your own thoughts, unable to make a decision, and things are so muddled up, there's a lack of clarity. Like you need a new perspective on the situation. And your last card for your more mental side of things is the Fool. So this is really encouraging you that it is time to take a chance. It is time to just put yourself out there and try to start this new cycle. You know, don't let all this inconsistent energy bog you down forever. Like at some point you do need to get out of like this stalemate and move on and do something to set things in motion. Otherwise you're never going to know. You know, you need to get out of that inconsistent energy, out of that teeter-tottering and just do something. Just make a decision one way or another. You just need to try. Give it a chance. So for the more manifest aspect of this situation, you have the Six of Wands reversed, clarifying the High Priestess. So some of you, maybe some of the reason why you feel hopeless, like there's not going to be any success, is because you're lacking insight, you're not in touch with your intuition. That may be something that you need to focus on cultivating. It also might feel like for some of you, you may be worried that this person that you're dealing with doesn't have the same spiritual views that you have. Some of you may be worried that you guys are just, not that you have different values so much as you're in different places in your lives, and that's something that's holding you back. You also have the Ace of Pentacles with the Knight of Pentacles. So with it, and remember in the beginning with your emotions, it was in the reverse. So with your manifest, this is saying that if you consistently work towards taking that chance, towards, if you just make a shift towards consistency and you move towards that person in a way that's steady and reliable and kind of like that slow moving, building a strong foundation, you're going to find a lot of harmony and a lot of balance. You're going to be really surprised to see just how well things are going to unfold for you. Next, we have the Eight of Cups with the Seven of Wands. Both of them are upright. This is saying, yes, you need to take a chance. You need to move on. You are going to have success. You're going to find yourself as soon as you move away from this conflicted energy. And again, because this is in the manifest part of the reading, this is saying like this will be the outcome. So as long as you make that decision, you take that leap of faith, you are going to find some kind of success. You're going to be able to find yourself. You need to stop trapping yourself in your own mind. And then lastly, the part that's most exciting is you have the Fool coming out with the Lovers. So this is saying to me, again, if that is your goal, this pretty much seems to be only a relationship reading. I'm not really picking up on anything else as far as like a career or something like that. For some of you, it definitely could be. That could be the thing that you're teeter-tottering on as to whether or not to make that final jump into accepting an offering or something like that, or quitting your current job to pursue something else. But what this is saying is that once you take that leap of faith, you are going to find the love and the passion, the connection that you are desiring. It is going to be something very fulfilling and very passionate in that regard. And it's the only thing that's holding you back is you not taking that leap of faith. Okay. So let's see here. We do have a couple of messages on top of that. We're going to go into the oracles and the messages that came out with them. As always, anytime that I get to the messages portion of this, I do want to say, if I don't feel like this group is going to be as much of an issue, but of course, some of these messages are going to be a little bit negative. They might be a little bit triggering, but the intent is for you to work on things that set you free so you can move into a better place, make room for better things coming into your life, okay? All right, so the first card that came out, this is from the Raven's Wand Oracle, was the Farewell in reverse. I'm going to show it to you upright as I read what the significance of the reverse means. So like it or not, as we grow older, like it or not, we all grow older. Things that matter now may be insignificant in a year. Life changes in the same way a landscape changes as we travel through it. Those hills might be the same, but they look different because our position has moved. Allow the transformation to unfold and enjoy the journey that is life. So to me, this seems like, again, this is encouraging you, yes, take like that chance to move forward and do something. Enjoy the little things in life. Enjoy what you have while you have it. Don't let the opportunity pass you by, because this is another thing that the Hangman in reverse can mean, is feeling like you're missing out on opportunities because you're so stagnant. And this is just encouraging you to seize the moment, seize the day, enjoy what you have while you have it. Sure, things can change down the road, and that might be what's holding you back because you're afraid that things won't stay the same. But that's life, things are constantly changing, and sometimes it's not that things have changed so much as our perspective is what has changed, and that's what makes our world look so different. And it's like, even if things do stay the same, there's no guarantee that you are going to feel the same way. But more so, I feel like the message for you guys is just seize the moment, seize the day. Don't be afraid to jump into this new opportunity that you have with this person, because you never know how long it is before you completely lose that opportunity. That opportunity has not left you. If that's what you're wondering, if you're feeling like the door has closed, and maybe that's part of why some of you are so conflicted as far as confronting this person, this is saying that the door is not closed. You still have that opportunity. They're not gone yet. They're still there. All right, so the messages that came out with this oracle, the first one is please help me. So some of you might be feeling, I don't know, I want to say like feeling dependent on this person in a way. Like you kind of want clarity from this person to give you that push of courage to be able to do it. Some of you might just feel really overwhelmed right now because of your emotions, and you're not really sure what to do. Maybe you're asking for comfort from this person. This person, alternatively, you might be feeling like they're leaning on you a little bit too much. That might be part of why you like them, or that might be part of why you're hesitant. The next message that came out is unconditional love. So yes, if that's what you're doing, if that's what you're looking for is a partner, this is here to tell you that it will be fulfilling, it will be unconditional. So any baggage that you think that you have, that you think makes you unworthy, this person will still accept you and they will love you regardless. Oh man, the next message that came out is whatever. So again, you have like this teeter-tottering energy, like part of you, I'm going to show you what's right after that, is you are everything to me. So it's like 1 minute you couldn't care less about this person, you're blowing them off, and then the next person is just like you're so madly in love with them. And the last message is get out of my head. Yeah, so I feel like the reason why you're teeter-tottering back and forth so much is because like you're afraid to admit to yourself how much you love this person, how much they mean to you. And this is, again, it's just encouraging you, just take that leap of faith. Like this person, I think once you express yourself a little bit more, or you do start to embark on building a relationship with this person, this does seem to be kind of like a slow and steady relationship that you're going to be building. Like you need to appreciate every step in the relationship. You're not going to get into like this full complete and passionate union right away necessarily. There is going to be a little bit of exploration of each other that needs to happen before you get to this point. But as long as you're doing the work, you are going to find that even though this might be a longer process than you really wanted, it's going to pay off and you're going to feel very fulfilled by it. All right, so then the next card came from the Victoria Frances Oracle, and you have the number 23 here. This means surrendering to the magic, stands for awareness and creating harmony. There's so much wisdom and psychic potential within you, but you are not listening to what your heart is telling you. You only have to tap into it to awaken these primal senses. Your inability not to trust your instincts is leading you down a path which feels uncertain. You're feeling frustrated as things do not seem to be working out in your favor, and quite understandably, you are feeling demoralized. You must learn to trust. Do not hide your potential. Bring it out into the world and shine your light, and you will be amazed at how quickly life can turn around for the better when your heart and soul are in harmony. So again, follow your heart. Like, stop overthinking about everything. Stop looking for reasons to hold back. You know, you just have to make a decision and go for it. Take that leap of faith. So your first message that came out is please trust me. This is, I believe this is you telling yourself to trust your heart. The next message is I want to tell you the truth. This is encouraging you to express your feelings to this person. Or this even could be this person is mirroring you and they want to tell the truth to you about how they feel. And it's going to be something very positive. Yeah, the next message is will you listen to me? Maybe both of you are afraid that the other person isn't open to this. But it seems like you are. It might even be that because of your inconsistent energy, this person is holding back from expressing because it's like one day you don't care and then the next day it's like you can't stop talking to them. And it's like, it's almost like anytime that you give this person like too much, anytime you express a significant amount of love, it freaks you out that that's going to overwhelm the person and you pull back. And then you're just sending a lot of mixed signals. But this person is, it's kind of, yeah, it's like this person is very trustworthy. This is someone who wants to take care of you. This is someone who wants to listen to you. And I think the message that's coming through is that they do like you and they do really love talking with you. Maybe they're equally insecure. Maybe they're equally sending mixed signals. And of course, anytime you're in that situation, that means that both of you have work to do on yourselves. And that might be why, you know, we have the Knight of Pentacle energies where things are supposed to be slow moving in this connection. And there was also the 7 of Wands. So it's like this finding yourself aspect with this as well. And you guys being willing to take that leap of faith with this relationship might be that impetus for you guys to explore who each of you really are. For you guys to be able to grow in your confidence and, this might be a healing relationship too, that the more that you open yourself up, the more that you express yourself, this person in return is going to positively reinforce that and they'll reflect it back to you. The only thing that's holding you two back are your insecurities. The next message is, why do you like me? This might be you questioning why this person is so patient with you, or that might be the other person questioning why you are so patient with them. The next one is, I'd be so lost without you. yeah, again, like you guys really help each other a lot. You help each other to feel really strong and really good. And that kind of, again, goes back to that please help me energy, where there's something about your connection that's just really stabilizing. And maybe some of you are just afraid of losing that connection by taking that jump. Maybe for some of you, it's like you value so much what you already have that you're afraid if you take it to the next level that you're going to lose that dynamic. But this feels like it's saying that you don't have to worry about that because you guys feel the same way. You know, you both really help each other out. And as long as you take it slow, even though you're taking that leap of faith, it's kind of like taking a leap of faith doesn't always mean like rushing into things. It doesn't always mean rushing right into like a final outcome. Sometimes that leap of faith is just that first step, and that's kind of what this feels like more than anything, because you guys do have a lot of internal healing and personal discovery to do, because you both seem to have a lot of insecurities, and you need to heal through that, but you guys will be helping each other in the process as long as you're patient and you take your time. It feels almost like, yes, you want to take that leap of faith and maybe expressing your emotions or just being more open to that person, being more open to the possibility of having like a formal and committed relationship or taking it to the next level, whatever that means for you. Yeah, it's just taking that first step, you know, it's not like completely jumping into the abyss, into the unknown. But that first step for you guys, it does feel like an abyss because you're so scared of what's going to happen next. Then my next message is, I don't know what to do. So again, just reiterating that inconsistent energy where you guys want to take things to the next level, but you're afraid to. The last one is, why are you nice to me? So again, with those themes of insecurities holding you back and sitting there constantly questioning why this person likes you, and letting that be self-defeating, letting that, you know, bring you to this whatever energy where it's just like, you can't believe that it's true, you can't believe that it's real. But what they're saying is that, yeah, it's you guys are just both feeling the same way. And eventually somebody should do something, because you might miss out on this opportunity. You know, if you keep holding back, you keep holding back. The opportunity is still there, like I said, if that's what you were wondering. It's not over yet. There's still an opportunity for you guys to have some kind of a union and go down that road. It's just that you need to take the leap of faith. You need to take the chance so you don't miss out. All right, so that's all that I have for you today. I hope that it resonated with you. If it didn't, feel free to choose another group, another video, a different reader. Really just follow your heart, do whatever feels right, and I hope to see you in the next one.